Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast.
It's Friday, it's 5pm, and Brad and I are hungover.
Yeah, about last night, Johnny. It was got a bit leery.
We're going to make it sound more mysterious. I did that classic thing of getting home thinking, I'm not really drunk, I'm going to get away with this. And then, I ate a lot of toast and fell asleep in front of the TV. So, definitely was.
Getting home from Tottenham at midnight was lovely. I can tell you, I missed my train by about 3 seconds and had to get buses, and it was wonderful. Wonderful stuff.
Thing you need to remember though in that situation is that you are leaving Tottenham, so there's a plus.
Yeah, but I'm going back to Lewisham, so it swings and roundabouts.
The Tottenham of the South.
Exactly.
Anyway, this is probably not great content for somebody who lives, say, in California. Last night we were at the first ever Love Beer London Festival, which is a festival just for the brewers of the South East. Joint run by the Society for Independent Brewers, which is basically the Brewers Association in the UK, and Craft Beer Cares, which is a charity that raises money for mental health charities. We did some damage to our brains. But before that, I was doing a load of beer judging. So SIBA run a competition every year that culminates in a big conference up in Liverpool, and the best beers in the country get judged, and they crown sort of the best pale ale, the best stout, the best imperial stout, all this kind of stuff. So we were judging that. I got the lager category. I was leading a team of judges. Had 10 lagers to try. I think 2 of them were you'd go back to the bar for.
We're still not great at lagers, are we, over here?
No, we're really not.
No.
And the little lager revolution that's happening isn't really happening in London. It's happening elsewhere in the UK. So didn't hold out great hope, and there wasn't too many brilliant ones. But session IPA category was great. Clearly, we can make great session IPA down in the southeast
for sure.
And then I was the wit beer category. So wheat beer. So it was wit beers, Bavarian Weiss beers, and American wheats. And I sat down, and my 6 judges on that one, all of them sat down independently and said, "Yeah, we don't like wheat beer."
Oh, that's great for a comp, isn't
I had
it?
6
Judges
people who were like
this style.
Yeah, just didn't want to be there.
Wow.
So I was trying to pep them up, keep them excited about the next clove bomb they were about to try.
Wow.
I don't think we won any of them over. But I love a Weiss beer. You love a Weiss beer, don't you, Brad?
I do. I mean, I can remember being, don't tell anyone this, but about 16 years old and going to pubs and drinking Weiss beers. A lot of Belgium stuff when I was a younger whippersnapper. We had
sweet tooth.
like a Belgo type place that was in Bromley, which is near where I grew up. And I used to go in there when I was maybe about 18 and felt pretty fancy drinking, some of that continental beer offerings, and smashing some sausage.
Did you? Oh, goodness. Did you drink Hoegaarden when it was a big thing in the UK?
I didn't actually like Hoegaarden, and I think even at that age I was like, I don't like this, man. This is too flowery, it was too medicinal, too flowery for me. I wasn't into it. I used to drink a lot of Leffe.
Ah, right, okay. You wanted the big, bold Belgian blondes.
Exactly.
Although it's no longer big or bold anymore.
No, but I remember it being
dead.
You could get the sort of almost like champagne-sized bottles of it. And if
I think you still can. They're like $1.50 in Tesco.
Yeah, you like rock up to a house party. I was maybe a little bit pretentious. I was in the kind of like rock kind of goth kid gang, stoner guys, and we wouldn't get invited to all the house parties, but the ones we did, we'd rock up with stuff like Leffe. Obviously, we'd drink everyone else's beer first, but then we would move on to our Leffe.
And you get your foil caps.
Exactly. It was almost like champagne, with popping caps or whatever it was, popping. I don't think they had corks, but it felt quite grown up, I would say.
Yeah, man, it's
from an 18-year-old guy's perspective, and
yeah,
big flavours.
When I was 18, I remember drinking Beck's and thinking, this is fucking awful. Why am I drinking this?
I skipped the Beck's. I think I went from drinking stuff in the park like vodka and lots of Strongbow to then moving on to stuff like I say, Leffe. We did slum it a bit sometimes with, tinnies, big tinnies, 400 and something mil tinnies, I think they were back in the day. I couldn't even tell you what it was lager, it was like crap lager. But
you were in it for the volume, weren't you?
Yeah. And then I had some sort of university days where I drank a lot of K cider and, got annihilated and
People at art school have no taste.
K
cider.
Oh, okay. When I was hanging out with the art school crowd, we wouldn't pay to drink. We'd go to gallery openings 3 or 4 times a week. I used to live off Hoxton Square, so I used to be right in. This is when Hoxton was kind of cool. Nearly 20 years ago, I suppose.
It was run down and just starting to kick off.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely kicked off at that point. There was White Cube Gallery and all the stuff around there.
Oh, right.
We just used to go out and drink for free. I mean, I found it weird that you have to pay for beer, which probably maybe made me gravitate towards trying to drink for free these days, in what we do.
That's part of why we started the channel. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. It's snowballed from there, but yeah. Anyway, we've got super derailed from what was going to be a chat about beer judging.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly we're talking about K-cider in parks. I don't know whether anybody out there's done beer judging before in their lives. It's a really weird setup, essentially. So I drank 34 beers yesterday.
Fun.
Even before Brad arrived for the actual festival. And mostly what happens is when you're drinking normally, you get a beer and you're looking for something to love. You're like, I can't wait for this. And you're getting the aroma and you go, oh, that's delicious. And you're wanting to love it. So you're sort of building your score up from 0. When you're judging, it's the other way around. And you start with a score of 100 and you're knocking scores off for hints of diacetyl and acetaldehyde or low carbonation or haze that isn't to style and all this kind of stuff. So you get super negative super quickly, even if the beer's pretty good. So I sort of developed this new system today because I was a lead judge. So you have a table of people, so you're helping them deconstruct the beer. You're checking they know the beer styles, and you're collecting their notes, and then you come up with an overall score that's based off of everything that they said. And I sort of developed this system of doing that, like knocking off the points for everything that was wrong, but then trying to start again, so taking a moment and then going back in as if I was drinking it just in a pub to see if that enjoyment factor came back. Because otherwise, I found so many beer judging competitions, it's the well-made, filtered, pasteurised beers that seem to do the best because they just survive that format of being poured and left out for ages, probably getting a little bit too warm, and then being broken apart by beer geeks.
Yeah, I imagine you're not going to make really edgy, angular beers win because they're not going to be balanced and they might have flaws in them, but they're exciting and they make you emotional. But once you sort of have to judge it on criteria, a lot of those beers will fall short in a competition.
Yeah. So I was trying to address that a little bit
back in an emotional way. I think if you were doing that, that's an interesting approach.
Yeah, and not all beer competitions will let you do that. It's supposed to be judged strictly to style. But the one we were doing yesterday, Siva sort of said specifically, like, we don't want you to judge stuff that isn't strictly to style, or penalise stuff that isn't strictly to style. Like, we want the most delicious beers to win. So, I mean, that has its own issues in that, you know, you can get some stuff that isn't to style winning the wrong categories. But luckily we didn't get that. So maybe the system does work. But yeah, I thought I'd explain that because I think not a lot of people understand how the beer judging happens and why often it's the safer beers that tend to win. There's no conspiracy, as far as I know.
No. Do you think being a beer judge... I mean, it's pretty difficult drinking 34 beers. Obviously, you're not drinking a pint, but you're going to go hot blind and you're going to get a little bit tipsy, maybe verging on shit-faced, depending on if...
you don't really get drunk.
Yeah.
Because you're only having maybe a sip of beer every 10 minutes.
Okay. So how are you avoiding losing your taste palate over the course of the day?
So there's no way of avoiding it, really. Your palate will get tired. Those receptors in your tongue will start to back away, going, whoa, this is all too big. But you have crackers on the table that help reset. Having black coffee can help. Drinking lots of water can help. And there's regular breaks. So you do the rounds. So you do 10 lagers, take a break, and then you go to another category. And they try to make sure that the judges aren't, you know, if you're doing imperial stouts, they're not going to stick you on a lager table next.
Right, yeah, of course. So when you say crackers, were they the Soffels pita chips that were...
No, not the flavoured ones.
These are just the nullifying little guys that are great for just...
Classic Jacobs, mate.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd love to know if you guys have done beer judging or what your thoughts are on beer judging. You can get us on @BeerChannel on Twitter and @CraftBeerChannel on Instagram. And obviously on any of our videos. We did a video on beer judging round about this time last year. It must have been end of March, because that was based on the SIBA finals, which I judged in March last year.
We're hosting that, right? Is we hosting that?
We are, yeah, we're hosting the awards section of that this year, yeah.
I'm kind of terrified about that, but you're going to be the one doing most of the heavy lifting, hopefully.
I'll be the host, and you'll be the pretty one that hands over the trophies, maybe.
I don't know about pretty, but I can certainly pick things up. I don't usually drop stuff, but I am quite clumsy, so...
That's going to be on your grade. Actually, yeah, you're not great at picking stuff up. You are pretty clumsy.
I mean, when we were doing our food festival circuit a couple of years ago, which was great fun, by the way, and it did help me conquer some of my anxiety issues.
Yeah, it was a bit of a baptism of fire, cooking for 100 people in a tent in the middle of Bedford.
Yes. Yeah, it was quite full on. But I managed to fall down the stairs off of the stage with a full tray of beer. And I didn't spill a bloody thing, but I did totally stack it. My kind of track record of falling over with important things around beer is bad.
I had totally forgotten, but I do remember like screaming in joy when I saw you stand up without a single beer spill. It was a remarkable feat. Because they were like the little shot glasses as well. Like I don't know how that's scientifically possible that you didn't spill any.
I think what it is, you know, when people, they get feats of strength when it comes down to it, like a child
like lifting
gets crushed
cars
by
off
a car
people.
and they lift the car up. I zoned in and I knew I was going down. I let my body take the hit, but I knew how important that we only had a certain amount of this very, very rare stout. And it didn't help that the organiser guy had bloody drank
a bunch of them
without telling us. And then we turned up and it's like, where's our beer? Oh yeah, I got a bit drunk last night and drank it all. Thanks, man. That was fun. But
what a summer, Brad.
that was a great summer. I look back on that with rose tinted glasses. We did a bit of camping and. Yeah. Oh, it was wonderful stuff.
It was great. A strange food festival. So there was a hamster petting tent.
Yeah, lots of
which
chainsaw
I think was more popular
carving.
than our talks.
And
chainsaw carving. So
people
much
love
chainsaw carving.
free shit, so don't underestimate the pull of our talks. They were there for the free samples, and we soon clocked on. I think we did at least 12 of these festivals, maybe? Was it 12 or 9? I can't remember.
We only did 4 actual festivals, but we did 4 talks at each one. Yeah.
And we kind of clocked on pretty soon. You don't give out the free samples straight away. You got to make them wait around for a bit for that, because if you do, they'll just fuck off. And
treat them mean, keep them keen.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
This is just a quick message to remind you guys that everything that we do, that's our podcast, our blogs, and indeed our videos on YouTube, are all supported by our friends on Patreon.
Yeah, we really couldn't do it without you guys. You're the lifeblood of the channel. And, you know, if you're feeling flush or not particularly that flush, anything you can contribute really helps keep the lights on. What do you get in exchange? You get some awesome merchandise, and you also get that lovely, warm, tingling feeling inside that you're supporting independent content.
Absolutely, I'm feeling warm and tingly right now, and if you are too, head over to patreon.com/craftbeerchat.
Right, yeah, this is a proper ramble chat, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Let's dive into the comments, see what's been said. So any of you that watched our live show last night would know we didn't have an upload this week. We did a live show instead. That live show did not go to plan.
Oh, it was so fun, Johnny. I loved your Android phone last night. It was amazing. Such a well-performing little sentient being.
£1,000 worth of equipment. Sure. We basically paranoid Android. We couldn't turn off the OK Google feature. So every time we said OK in the live show, it cut our live feed. And eventually we worked it out. Huge props to the Soffles rep and to
Hamilton, Mr. Hamilton.
Yes, Mr. Hamilton. It was Lee, wasn't it? Yeah, Lee Hamilton, who ended up in it and had a chat with him. He's an ex computer techie guy, and he sorted it out. So we finally
turned
got
it
away.
off and on again. You know, the classic IT man.
Pretty much.
He's a cool guy. I enjoyed talking to him. I haven't really engaged with him that much before. I thought he's great. He's a proper Essex boy, isn't he? And,
he is, yeah.
I loved his chat about roast potatoes. Free in pubs in the 90s, which I still think's a lie, but there we go.
If you guys have ever been given free roast potatoes in a pub, you've got to let us know, because we don't think that happened.
To give it a bit of context, he was basically saying, you know, like you might get nuts on the bar, some bar nuts. He was implying that he used to regularly, all over Essex and in parts of London, be given roast potatoes just as a free, you know, livener when you're drinking a beer. The landlord will come up to you, here's some roast potatoes for you. Very random, very, very random. I don't know. So let us know if that's a thing.
Yeah. So we got lots of comments on that, obviously. Mostly people saying we're drunk, which was not unfair. But yeah, so we're not going to pick a comment from that, but I do recommend you go have a look at that video and see the carnage that ensued as we got, I think it was the 4th live stream finally worked. But we recently, I always enjoy this, every now and then, because we've been doing this channel for 6 years now, nearly 7. So we've got a back catalogue of some pretty dodgy videos. And we got a comment on one of them ages ago. Every now and then somebody finds them in YouTube. And it was back when we had a thing called Top of the Hops, where the best thing about it was the awesome turntable intro.
Oh, yeah.
Everything else about it was just when we were doing beer reviews, like right at the start when we were padding out our content. And so somebody's dug out our review of Pilsner Urquell. And he said, the beer was destroyed by the tap man, very poorly poured, says Jindrik Prausek.
Oh dear.
And usually when they flash up on my phone and we get a comment, and it's a negative one, you're always like, you're always thinking, how can I get out of this one? And then I looked at the video and I was like, nope, Jindrik is 100% on the money. That is a horrific pour of beer.
Oh dear.
So Pilsner Urquell should have a good inch of creamy head from the side pour tap on top. And it was just flat. Our pints, they were awful. I think we mentioned it in the video. We do say, like, this is not how it's supposed to be, and we try and generate some head. But it looks awful.
I think we've definitely redeemed ourselves in the Pilsner Urquell stakes. We've made some great content out there with those guys. And
we have done.
Fucking love that beer, man. When you drink it over there, it's the mother's milk. It's proper amazing stuff.
Yeah, I'd live off it if I could.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought it'd be a good excuse for us to have a chat about some pours, because I just wrote an article for Ferment, which is the Beer 52 magazine, all about weird pours around the world. So you've obviously got the way that Pilsner Urquell pour it, then like the Hradlinka, I think it's called, and then you have the Schnitt, which is like this quick pour with loads of head that you drink really quickly, and it just keeps being brought by the staff in the pub, and it just means you get ultra fresh beer constantly, and it's sort of a worker's drink because it's cheap and it's quick, and you can do it in your lunch hour. But they then have the Mliko pour, which is just pure silky foam. It's like liquid beer meringue.
Yeah, it's very delicate, isn't it? And it you know, if you encountered that in a Weatherspoons pub, let's say,
You'd be like, "Can you top that up, love?"
you'd be like, "Yeah, top that up." You know, you wouldn't. It's an odd thing when you first see it. If it's out of context, you're like, "What? Where's the beer? Where's the beer?
Where's the beer bit? Like, that's all head. But head is beer. Head is beer, which is something we've learned through going to the Czech Republic a lot.
That's true.
But yeah, so my favourite from the article, which I wrote about, I won't get into slow pour because it's super political, and some people think it's the best thing, and some people don't. We haven't got time. But the Hartlepool head is what I want to talk to you about.
Oh yeah.
So the Hartlepool head. Have I told you about this, Brad?
This is the thing they put in the fridge, right?
Yeah. So it's the thing that happens up in Hartlepool, which is in the extreme northeast of England. And what they do is they pour half the pint with lots of head.
Yes.
Then they put it in the fridge for 30 minutes.
Sensible. Let all the carbonation out. Yeah, love it.
Yep. And then they bring it back out and top it up. Right?
Right.
And
so it's already cold
what
beer,
it creates, right?
Yes.
What it creates is like what I can only describe as a smurf hat that comes out of the beer and sort of droops. Yeah. It's a super weird thing, like coming out like 4 or 5 inches from the... No, not 4 or 5 inches. 2 or 3 inches from the top of the glass. Just this weird smurf hat.
And what's the appeal of it other than it looking hilarious?
I have no idea. I've never tried one. We need to get in a car.
Oh, we need to do that, yeah.
And go to Hartlepool.
Hartlepoolers out there, what the fuck are you up to? Can you explain it? It's just
I've
the
had
idea
it
of putting
explained.
a beer half a pint in a fridge for half an hour, and then letting just mad.
The origins of it is that apparently it was for the steel workers. They'd come in for lunch and have some beers,
right?
But it was too busy, so they wouldn't be able to pour enough beer quickly.
Okay, so speed.
So they'd pour beer in advance. So that's where the 30 minutes in the fridge came.
Got you.
And I guess if you're pouring really quickly, that means you get this giant head, and then people start going, actually, I like it with the really creamy head on top.
So it's like the shit festival pint you get. Sorry, Hartlepoolers, this is probably gorgeous. We haven't tried it. But when you go to a festival and you go up to a bar and you're drinking your, Tuborg or whatever drizzle, horrible stuff they've got going on. They've already poured them out, and they're on a shelf. There's like 100 of them poured out. And you get stung for about £7 a pint. You've bought a round and it's cost you about 40 quid. And it's flat and it's a bit warm. Might have a fly in one of them. You try and give that to the person you don't like. That's basically the Hartlepool pour, but you don't get the Smurf hat on it.
And hopefully not the fly either.
Hopefully not the fly. But who knows? If it's hanging about for that long. But, I'm into this Hartlepool pour. I need to try it now.
Yeah. Well, Don Zoco's up there. It's actually Reese, who owns Don Zoco Brewery, who put me onto it. And they make fantastic beer. So maybe we'll go see Don Zoco and we'll have ourselves a Hartlepool head.
Do you think Don Zoco will make us a Hartlepool head with a Don Zoco beer? Or is that sacrilegious?
Well, it's got to be
I'd like
cask.
to try one non-Hartlepool pour and then one that is Hartlepool pour. Compare and contrast the two. I think that'd be an interesting flavour test.
That's a video right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, guys, that's all we have time for. We've already hit 20 minutes. So I hope you guys are drinking a beer at the moment. Brad and I might take the day off.
I'm going to go get a Domino's, mate. I'm hanging.
There you go. That's how you fix it. And yeah, all that's left to say really is Happy Valentine's Day to all you lovely people.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day, Johnny. I love you, man. In a very
I love
platonic
you
way.
too, buddy.
But yeah.
Yeah,
We've had some great times, haven't we, eh?
haven't we just?
Oh.
Many memories to
So many
go
memories
over.
I've forgotten about with the age of booze.
Yeah, so many memories we'll never recall because
Exactly.
of alcohol.
Oh,
Yeah,
great stuff.
there you go.